Who are going to be your team leaders, the kids who fill that role on the court?
Well, right now, our team captains are Epiphany, Annalie, and Freya. So you have our two seniors and Freya as our junior. Um, you know, the two seniors are kind of the captains because they're the most experienced and older, and they're also ready to fill that role. And Freya, again, just has that maturity about her that she's ready to start thinking about being a captain and being our captain for the next 2 years.
What has allowed Freya to already give you an idea that she could be even a starter this year after what she's gone through?
Well, again, she kind of has that basketball savviness to her. That she's had some really good experience playing over in New Zealand. She played a little bit with a team in Ireland that gave her some really good experience. And she's a really mature kid, a very, very mature kid.
What specifically will she bring to this team?
Well, just
I mean,
leadership,
just
but
skill-wise.
skill-wise, she can shoot. She can get to the basket and distribute the ball. She's not super quick, but again, she's crafty and she's smart. And when she picks her moments to attack, but she's incredibly unselfish too. She almost looks to drive the pass before she looks to drive to score.
What are your thoughts, one, on the rest of the Big Sky, and two, where you see your team fitting in?
Well, we're going through a transition, in my opinion, with the Big Sky. We've just graduated a large group of talent. You had your Deshar Stranges and Stephanie Lees. You had your Rubel at Montana. You had Banks and Raven Anderson at Northern Arizona. You had Fantasia Hilliard at Sac State. You had this large group of kids who've been kind of the name kids, the superstars of our conference that all just graduated. So we've got this opportunity, I think, for these new people to come up, to step up and make a name for themselves. I think it's the opportunity for some young people to start establishing a new era. So it's really interesting, a really interesting changeover that just happened, in my opinion.
How about the rule changes, Seton? Very pronounced from a women's standpoint, even more so than the men. Does that mean adjustments for coaches?
I think some. I don't think it's dramatic. I think there's going to be some end of the game situations that you're going to have to prepare for. I think the biggest change to me is that how they're going to handle the foul situation. They're going to clear the foul count after every quarter. So there's a potential that you shoot less free throws, thus making the game faster. I don't like not having one timeout taken away from me. I cherish my timeouts, but you get more breaks because of the breaks in between quarters. So it's different.
Speaking of just new changes and just over this off season, obviously every off season allows a chance for reflection. Did you do any reflection and think of this is new things I need to do with my program or anything like that?
Yeah, well, every year I try to pick one or two things to try to improve on. I pick one or two things that I try to anticipate what we're going to need for the following year. This year, we're going to definitely adapt our offense to utilize some of our strengths, especially people like Epiphany Woods and Grace Kenyon. Their ability to score in various ways, off the dribble, but also from the perimeter. So we're making some changes to the offense. That's a little bit outside my comfort zone because I've been motion offense for close to 15 years now. Even the year of high school that I coached as an assistant, we were a motion team. The same motion that I've been running since I've been here. So what we're adding, it's a little different. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit more aggressive going at the basket and trying to facilitate things a little bit more in terms of putting pressure on the defense to defend the basket. But we've done a really good job too this summer of working on our outside shooting. I think you're going to see, hopefully, we kind of keep up with what we have been doing, but you'll see people like Juliette Jones, who's shooting the ball exceptionally well right now. Epiphany Woods has even become a better outside shooter, her and Grace Kenyon. So our offense is going to be different. Defense is going to be about the same. Offense is going to be different.
What ways is offense going to be different? How are you going to suit your offense toward their skill set?
Well, it's again, it's probably attacking the basket a little bit more, playing a little faster.
Again,
It's-
use like more any pick and roll and stuff.
You'll
more
see
like
some
that.
ball screens, but we've always ball screened.
Okay, yeah.
But you might see a little bit more. You might see just improved spacing, I think. Just trying to use more gaps, more floor for Epiphany and Grace and everybody else. Even Brooke Blair is one of our new people that looks really good at going at the basket. So we're trying to utilize a little bit more space.
Gotcha. I know you can't have too much of a view of what players are doing in the off season, but what have you heard putting your ear to the wall?
Oh, what's going on in the
Just as far-
conference?
No, just in the off season.
Oh,
as far-
for our own team.
Yes. Have you heard anything? Is there a player that's specifically made the most improvement, or is working the hardest, or anything like that from the off season that you've heard
Yeah.
about regarding your team?
Well, it's not even necessarily hearing about. We're allowed to do 8 weeks of workouts in the
Okay.
summer, so I've seen it for myself.
Right.
But I think Epiphany Woods, she's always been kind of our go-to person, but she put in a lot of time this summer. She stayed in Pocatello the entire summer. And we bought our program a brand new gun, which is a rebounding machine. And she spent a lot of time on that this summer with Grace Kenyon and everybody else. So Epiphany looks drastically improved. I mean, not that she was bad before, but she looks even better than before, especially her outside shooting. I think Anna Lee looks a little bit better, and someone who also made some big leaps was Lindsey Brown. Lindsey Brown looks really good. Last year she didn't play a whole lot. This year in practices and what she's done this summer, she looks like she's going to play more this year.
And going to Brooke, a Juku player, what is your requirement for adding? Is there, when you pick out a player that you're only going to get for 2 seasons, is it like they have to have a capability of being a starter right away, or what? In line with
I think they have to fill immediate need. A lot of our junior college recruiting is supplemental. You have a immediate need. Maybe you have an injury that requires you to go get another guard or a post player or whatever. And you also have to gauge your team. Maybe you've got some really good pieces in place ready to go, and you're just missing that post player that has to be ready to go. Now maybe that's when you go and get a junior college post player if a good one is available.
what was the need regarding?
Well, Brooke it's just flat out talent and someone who could play the 1 and 2, and she can score. She can score. She's an all conference player last 2 years, and I saw her play in the national tournament last year, and she had a really good game, 22 points, and led her team, and she's a really nice addition to our team.
And another addition, obviously through a different avenue, is about. I had to look on the map to even see where she was from. So how did you find her on a map? And
Well, our assistant coach, Ryan Johnson, has some pretty good contacts overseas, specifically in Spain, Australia, and New Zealand. And a good coaching friend of his in Spain told us about Isabel.
are you gonna redshirt her and slowly?
We'll see. If she's ready to go now, we're gonna play her. If she needs more time, then we'll let her develop.
Along those same lines, notice there aren't many Idaho athletes on team. I think there's only one. Are you guys recruiting more to other states? Is that kind of a plan for you guys, or is that just kind of how the talent?
Well, we always look in our immediate area first for players, and we've recruited a lot of Idaho players over the years, and for one reason or another, it hasn't always been a good fit, meaning like we didn't feel they were right for us, or they didn't like us. They chose to go out of state. I think, the 2016 recruiting class in 17 is really good in Idaho, and we're pursuing a lot of those players. But they've got to want to come to Idaho State, and we've got to feel like they fit in. So we definitely, I'd love to have a team full of Idaho players. It's just not going to happen. No.
Yeah.
We try.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the new arena plan?
It's fantastic. You have to give Jeff and Coach Evans and everybody else credit for having this vision and putting it forward. Coach Evans showed me the plans that they had looked at trying to do about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer than a year ago, and he was absolutely right. You have to start with a vision and an idea, and I think everybody else has jumped on board, and Jeff has jumped on board, and is trying to make it happen. And I think it'd be something very special for us. I think it would definitely distinguish us a part of the rest of the Big Sky, and a lot of the other teams that we play against, the mid-major, low-major teams that we play against.
And how about Seton going to Reno, neutral site? Just your thoughts on that?
I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, I'm probably one of the few. I think us and Montana are probably the only two, maybe North Dakota, who aren't a fan of it. And the reason why is because if you can host a conference tournament, it's a really special thing. And when we've gotten to host a conference tournament, it's an amazing atmosphere. You're playing in a full gym. And I think Montana and North Dakota probably feel the same way, that when you get to host it, you're playing in front of people, and it's just an amazing experience. With that said, I think a neutral site definitely equals the playing field. It's tough to go win the conference tournament in Montana. It's tough to go win the conference tournament in North Dakota. So there's definitely positives and negatives about it. But I don't know. Maybe I'm sentimental, or whatever you want to call it. But I like the old way.
Seton, is there any moving back to player personnel? Is there any injuries that any of your players suffered, or where they go unblemished over the summer? Or
Right now we're good to go. Yeah.
Gotcha. And also moving on to Grace, I'm wondering, last year she was in a junior standing, and I'm guessing this year she's a senior. Have you thought maybe she'll explore options as maybe a graduate transfer and move on to like a power conference school?
Yeah, I don't see that happening right now. Technically, she is a redshirt sophomore. So she came here, and she came in with a ACL injury. She hurt her knee playing lacrosse, and so she sat a year. Then she played last year, and then this is her third year here. So she's technically a redshirt sophomore. I don't see her moving on. I think Grace really likes it here. I think she realizes how much we appreciate her, and so it's not really a concern.